Hi, it's Edward, back again with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your support. Today, I read an article on jalopnik.com written by Eric Schilling titled, "Repossessing a Harley Sounds as Pleasant as You'd Think." I'll include a link to this article in the description below. I'd like to report and share my transformative thoughts through commentary regarding this article. According to this article, the credit loss for Harley in the first quarter of 2023 was 3.2%, or up from 2%, which is more than normal for Harley-Davidson. According to this article, it has been difficult to locate enough individuals that specialize in repossessing motorcycles. The article goes on to talk about how it's difficult to repossess a motorcycle because a lot of people, they have just as much love for their motorcycle as they do for their children. And they like to keep these motorcycles tucked away in a safe place on their property. Many people will have these stored away and under lock and key in their garage, making it more difficult for individuals who repossess motorcycles because those individuals may have to knock on the front door and let the owner know that they are there to repossess their Harley-Davidson. And as you can imagine, that may not go over well for some people. Now, when I read this article, I thought it was interesting because it's just one more sign that Americans are struggling with their debt and they're having a hard time covering the expenses that they have. And I can imagine that some Americans are feeling the pinch from inflation. Every time they go to the grocery store to buy food for their family, it's more expensive, and there's less money left over at the end of the month to make that payment on the Harley that they might have bought recently. I heard stories about a lot of people who blew their stimulus checks that they received on expensive toys. Some people signed on the dotted line and took on debt obligations for a wide variety of different toys, whether that be a motorcycle or a boat or a fancy new lawnmower or a four-wheeler or dirt bike, jet ski. The list can go on and on. Now that Americans are dealing with all this inflation, some are struggling to make these payments. Recently on the channel, I talked about how I was driving down a stretch of road that I travel from time to time, and I noticed that there were two boats, one motorcycle, and a fancy zero-turn mower for sale by owner in the front yard of several different homes. And it's been years since I've seen this type of activity. And the fact that I saw all of that on the same day really made me wonder what's going on. Are some Americans unable to get by right now and they have to sell their toys, regardless if they're financed or not? Some people who may be having financial difficulties may get to the point where they are forced to sell some of these toys that are paid off just to raise cash to cover their bills. Life would be even more difficult for those who have these types of items financed, some of which may be in a negative equity position. It's possible that some people who purchase Harley-Davidsons and stretched out their payments for a long time, put very little money down, or they may be in a negative equity position right now. And they may be unable to make the payments, but also unable to sell the motorcycle for what it's worth. I wonder if this is something that we're going to continue to see as the summer moves on. I don't think this is going to get any better. Even though the Federal Reserve has been trying to tame inflation through their interest rate hikes, there's been a lot of talk in the media this past week about how the Federal Reserve is likely to pause in the month of June and not continue with another 25 basis point hike to their Fed funds rate. Many believe the Federal Reserve will pause in June and then possibly resume interest rate hikes in July. The Federal Reserve is nowhere close to its 2% inflation target, which means it is likely that inflationary pressures will continue, which will make it even more difficult for Americans to pay their bills. A lot of Americans are faced with higher rent prices. In a lot of areas, rent has risen dramatically. Grocery prices have increased. Contractors who do work on your home, they have raised their prices. Insurance rates have gone up. I have seen my insurance rates increase. Those who own homes are likely to see their mortgage payments increase because of higher property assessed values, which mean that the county is likely to raise their property taxes some, and the mortgage company will have to adjust so that the escrow doesn't run out of money. Property insurance costs have gone up as property values have gone up. So there's a lot of Americans who right now have higher bills on a monthly basis, but their wages have not kept pace with this inflation. We have seen some very high inflation in different items in the economy, and a lot of employers have not been able to or unwilling to increase wages to keep pace with the inflation that we've been experiencing. So I'm guessing we're going to see more of these individuals having difficulty paying for the different toys that they purchased in recent years. Another uptick that I have seen recently when I've been driving around is in for sale by owner homes. This is something that I haven't seen for a long time. In the past few years, we've seen homes that have been flying off the shelf. Multiple offers, people waiving inspections and all of that. But just recently, I have seen more of the generic for sale by owner red and white signs in the front yards of people's homes. And it makes me wonder if some people who are in a position where they are no longer able to afford their mortgage, which could be for a variety of reasons. It could be due to inflation, it could be due to reduced hours at their place of employment, it could be due to them being laid off, because we've seen a lot of layoffs in the news lately. These people may be in a negative equity situation. They may have already consulted a real estate agent, and the real estate agent may have run a CMA, and the CMA may have revealed that their home is worth less than they paid for it. And that's probably hard news to receive, because some individuals who purchased these homes in the past few years were probably under the impression that the values would just keep rising and they were making a good investment. And now they're in a situation where they have negative equity in their home, or close to negative equity, and there would be no way to be able to pay a real estate agent 5, 6, 7% commission, whatever they could negotiate. A lot of real estate agents want 7%. Some are willing to negotiate and take 6% or 5%. Some of the larger brokerages have a floor on what they will allow their agents to negotiate. Regardless, I believe that there are Americans right now who are in a negative equity situation for their homes, and they may be trying to do a for sale by owner because they might be able to break even doing that, or come close to breaking even. They may have to bring a little cash to closing. But to me, that's a sign of desperation. It shows that some Americans may have made the wrong decision when they purchased some of these homes in the past few years, especially if they offered over list price due to the competitive environment, and now they are in a situation where they don't know what to do, and perhaps they're trying to do a for sale by owner listing in hopes of just getting out from under that property and then moving on and doing something else, maybe like renting. So it's really interesting what I've seen just around my area recently regarding for sale by owner homes and motorcycles, boats, lawnmowers sitting in the front yards of people's homes with signs on them. And I wonder if this is an ominous sign of what is to come for the US economy, or maybe just for my local economy. I'm curious to know what you think. Have you seen any of this type of activity recently in your area? Have you seen a lot of these toys for sale in front yards? Have you seen more for sale by owner homes? Do you know of anyone who is in a situation where they had their motorcycle or boat or four-wheeler or dirt bike or jet ski repossessed? Maybe they overextended themselves in the past few years and they were unable to continue to service that debt obligation. Let me know in the comments section below. I'd really love to hear from you and find out what's happening in other parts of the United States. And some people that watch this channel are from other countries, and I'm curious if some of this activity is also prevalent in some other countries around the world. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, consider giving it a thumbs up. Please also consider subscribing. Look forward to seeing everyone in the next video.